At this very moment, a highly influential individual is keeping an eye on you, and they are bringing something significant. I mean it. Behind the scenes of your everyday existence, there is a major situation unfolding that you are completely blind to. You probably assume that your recent actions, whether they were tiny gestures of goodwill, flashes of genuine vulnerability, or simply moments where you stayed true to who you are, have gone completely unnoticed, but you are mistaken. You are incredibly mistaken. Honestly, I don't mean to sound brutal. I am simply giving you the facts. An incredibly rich individual, possessing wealth and connections beyond your wildest dreams, has actually been watching you all along. Just a couple of weeks back, you made a decision that seemed totally mundane at the time. It likely appeared insignificant. Perhaps it was a passing comment you made, or perhaps it was how you supported someone during their darkest hour. It might have even been your quiet presence when someone just needed someone to listen. You took that action. Yes, and to you, it felt like no big deal at all. You just carried on with your quiet, everyday routine, genuinely believing you were completely invisible. But that is exactly what makes you so special. You never take action just to get a pat on the back. You never step up to help others simply to claim a trophy or a payout. You merely exist authentically. You tell it exactly like it is. You bring your genuine self to the table, even when it is incredibly scary. But there is a massive piece of the puzzle you are missing. That specific decision, that singular act of pure goodwill, literally rescued another human being. I am sensing an incredibly powerful energy regarding this situation. A specific individual is involved. Look, this individual has a lot of money. We are talking about life-changing wealth. I cannot say for sure if they are a millionaire or a billionaire, but their pockets are bottomless. Yet this same person was metaphorically suffocating, and at the absolute darkest rock bottom of their life. This is someone who has been trapped in a toxic cycle for a very long time. I am talking about 2, 3, or maybe even 4 decades of existing under the heavy thumb of a negative force. It might have been a romantic dynamic where they tied the knot with an incredibly manipulative partner, or perhaps it was a business issue where a trusted employee was quietly embezzling and ruining them. It might have even involved some seriously heavy, negative, spiritual attachments. Regardless of the exact cause, this individual was completely stuck, aimlessly drifting through life, hemorrhaging cash and assets, slowly fading away until you suddenly showed up. You were likely just minding your own business, right? Perhaps you were recording a podcast in the front seat of your vehicle. Or maybe you were filming videos tucked away in your room. You could have even been unhoused back then, barely scraping by on meager paychecks or absolutely broke. You possessed absolutely zero resources besides a smartphone and your honest perspective. That was everything. It was all you had in your toolkit. Yet you refused to quit. You continued to voice the exact messages that the world needed to hear. You were never putting on a show to gain followers. You were not attempting to construct a huge corporation. You were simply existing in a profoundly genuine state that the vast majority of society never reaches. This highly affluent individual was idly browsing the internet during a quick break. Perhaps they were relaxing out on the deck of their yacht, and they casually checked their social media at the perfect second to stumble across your face. It was the tone of your voice, the phrasing you used. your unique vibe, and a specific point you made. I cannot pinpoint the exact trigger, but a certain element resonated with them deeply. It acted like a master key, opening a locked door, instantly shattering the toxic illusion they had been living under. Because of that, this individual is now suffering from massive insomnia. They genuinely cannot drift off. They are tossing and turning on high-end sheets inside their massive home, obsessing over your words, marveling at how a person with absolutely nothing, someone barely keeping their head above water, possessing zero clout, zero authority, and zero financial backing, how a completely normal person like that could hold more inner strength and profound wisdom than anyone they have ever met in their circles. That realization is absolutely blowing their mind. They have rubbed elbows with the elite since they were born. They are used to navigating rooms full of titans, yet you possess a totally unique, incredibly raw energy that they have been desperately seeking for years without success until they found your content. At this very moment, a heavy truth is dawning on them. They are recognizing that you are incredibly overdue for a massive blessing. This isn't because you acted with the expectation of a payout. You were completely unaware that you were even assisting them, but rather because the cosmos has been paying close attention. The universe has logged every single time you broke down crying, every instance of injustice you faced, and every single second you refused to compromise your integrity, even when doing so was deeply painful. The cosmic ledger is perfectly balanced, and your massive payout is due. Let me explain what is actively unfolding out of your sight. This affluent individual is scrambling to find a way to contact you. How do you financially bless someone while remaining completely anonymous? How can someone deliver a truly transformational amount of money while maintaining total secrecy? That is the exact logistical nightmare they are currently trying to navigate. The reality is that the ultra-rich operate behind closed doors. They prefer to pull strings from the shadows. They value discretion above all else. However, they are quickly coming to terms with the fact that your unique spark has already infiltrated their sphere. Your profound energy has completely flipped their reality upside down. Consequently, they are feeling a deep sense of duty. Honestly, something far stronger than mere obligation. They genuinely feel indebted to you for giving them their very existence back. Really reflect on the magnitude of what I am conveying. This elite individual was on the absolute brink of total ruin. A massive conspiracy was actively unfolding. Close associates were involved. It could have been a spouse or maybe executives within their own business, individuals who desperately needed them out of the picture to seize control of their empire, drain their bank accounts, or hijack their trust funds, and your words shattered that manipulation, regardless of your intentions and completely oblivious to the chaos you were interrupting. Your raw honesty acted as a flare in their darkness. As a direct result, this individual is finally seeing things clearly. They are finally waking up to the true nature of their inner circle. They are currently launching deep inquiries. They have retained elite private investigators. They are auditing their staff, heavily scrutinizing their partners, and evaluating their entire network simply because you wiped the fog from their lenses. That immense level of thankfulness is what is currently overwhelming them. That is the exact thought preventing them from sleeping. They are connecting the dots. Yes, they are fully aware that you are still fighting to survive. It is incredibly obvious to them. Perhaps you record audio from your vehicle because you lack a permanent studio. Or maybe you film videos on a device with a shattered screen. You might literally be panicking about making your upcoming lease payment. Meanwhile, this individual possesses more wealth than you could ever spend in a lifetime, and they desperately want to solve your financial problems. They want to fix it more than anything. However, there is a major catch, and you need to pay attention to this part. They are completely stumped on how to transfer the wealth anonymously. They are actively searching to see if you have established a non-profit they can donate to. Do you have ties to any formal groups? Is there a legitimate avenue they can use to push funds your way without raising red flags? An avenue that appears completely organic? The reality is that if this billionaire is suddenly linked to a random creator, it could trigger massive headaches, intense legal scrutiny, or severe security risks. The elite navigate incredibly complex realities. Therefore, they are meticulously sorting out the logistics. They are finalizing their strategy right now, and I promise you they will execute it before the week is over, perhaps even in the next 48 hours. A massive change is rapidly approaching your life. It could arrive as a completely shocking message in your junk folder. It could be an unknown number calling you out of the blue. It might manifest as a seemingly random partnership offer. It could disguise itself as something so mundane that you could easily brush it off. However, your gut instinct will recognize it immediately. Your inner voice will scream that your life is about to change. This is the exact turning point. Furthermore, the cosmos itself is orchestrating this entire event. Source energy has just been waiting for you to fully grasp your own potential, because there is a profound truth you have yet to accept about your own value. You are operating on an incredibly abundant wavelength. Despite the fact that your bank account is completely empty, your soul possesses a rare energy that the ultra-rich spend millions trying to artificially manufacture. Your raw honesty, your talent for spotting lies, and your stubborn refusal to sell out just to get ahead. That exact vibe is the magic. That is the channel they accidentally dialed into. That is the exact medicine that cured their life. Therefore, a deeply fascinating dynamic is playing out. You have been walking through what you assumed was a mundane existence, correct? You firmly believed your choices were totally inconsequential. You assumed you were completely off the radar. You figured you were just an introverted individual going about your day, perhaps studying a book, perhaps editing a video, safely hidden away in your bedroom in a state of absolute obscurity. Yet throughout that entire period, highly influential individuals were actually paying very close attention. Incredibly well-connected elites with unlimited capital were taking notes. And the exact second you began to radiate that unapologetic energy, the very moment you refused to silence your personal beliefs, you became a beacon to an individual with the financial backing to rewrite your destiny. It feels as though the cosmos was literally holding back the floodgates until you finally embraced your own worth, demanding that you back yourself even when your own family and friends doubted you, requiring you to grind it out even when the system seemed rigged against you, even when it felt like you were speaking into an empty void. And then, with perfect divine timing, bam, Your timeline intersects with a titan who possesses both the wealth and the intense motivation to completely transform your future. Really chew on the synchronicity of this situation. Consider how wildly precise this alignment is. You never once chased down this billionaire. They discovered your work. They entered your digital orbit. They actively gravitated toward your unique tone, your vibrant aura, and your specific philosophies. And the specific wisdom you injected into their reality was so incredibly potent that it completely shattered the decades of toxic manipulation that had been slowly crushing their spirit. You accomplished that miracle. Your unpolished reality achieved that. Your stubborn insistence on being completely genuine is what saved them. Currently, they are obsessing over how to properly show their immense gratitude. And the only dialect they speak fluently is extreme wealth. Their sole method of saying thank you is by throwing massive amounts of money, handing over life-changing connections, and instantly bulldozing any financial barriers in your way. For an elite individual in this tax bracket, effortlessly stroking a check for 6 figures is an action they could absent-mindedly perform during their morning routine. It truly means nothing to their bottom line. It requires zero sacrifice, and they are rapidly concluding that a massive payout is precisely what you have earned. I need to be brutally honest about one crucial point, however. This is absolutely not a lucky coincidence. This has nothing to do with chance. This is simply the universe balancing the spiritual checkbook. This is the cosmos auditing your actions and finally paying out your dividends. Whenever you picked the hard truth over the easy lie, whenever you boldly stated your opinions despite the overwhelming pressure to conform, whenever you selflessly assisted another human being with zero ulterior motives, the divine was taking meticulous notes. Source energy kept a perfect tally, and at this exact moment, it is processing your refund. However, this is the exact phase where you must remain vigilant. A huge piece of your ego is going to actively fight against accepting this reality. That is completely natural. Your brain will immediately scream, "This is way too wildly optimistic to be real. Fairy tales like this do not occur in my tax bracket." And I need you to recognize that this hesitation is simply your outdated poverty mindset trying to protect you. That is the exact same internal critic that has relentlessly whispered that you are a failure, that your existence is meaningless, and that you are totally invisible to the world. However, that narrative is completely obsolete. You have leveled up your energetic output. You have put in the grueling hours of self-improvement. You have firmly planted your feet in your own power, and the cosmos is finally answering the call. The billionaire who stumbled upon your content is actively executing their strategy right now. They are deeply researching you as we speak. They are currently constructing the necessary corporate shells to funnel money to you, so securely, so legally, and so profoundly that you will have zero doubts when the cash hits your account. And trust me, it is coming. It might not look exactly like the publisher's clearinghouse check you envisioned, but it will manifest. It will be tangible. It will completely and permanently alter your reality. Your only job in this moment is to remain receptive. Keep your head on a swivel. Begin paying close attention to bizarre synchronicities. When you suddenly catch recurring digits on the clock, like 888 or 111, recognize that as the green light. That is the divine actively validating every single word I am sharing with you. Should you abruptly feel an intense urge to refresh your inbox, or to answer a spam risk number you'd typically ignore, or to visit a random coffee shop you never frequent, you need to follow that urge, because that could be the connection point. Your internal radar is about to go absolutely crazy. Lean into that feeling. Your soul already understands the exact master plan that your logical brain is still trying to process. Moreover, do not change your current trajectory. Continue producing your art. Continue broadcasting your honest opinions. Continue laying all of your cards on the table, even when it seems like the room is completely empty. Continue pushing forward, even when the analytics are embarrassing, even when you are utterly exhausted and desperately crave the sweet release of giving up, simply because that stubborn persistence is the exact catalyst for your impending breakthrough. That unapologetic realness, that intense defiance against